Hope you're all doing well. Today I wanted to go over the typical facility manager's tool bag. So everybody's going to have a specific set of needs, and you're going to tailor your bags to your property's individual preferences. But for the most part, this is something that I've used for the past several years that seems to have gotten me through most of the issues. Now I'll show you, I have a second backup here that I'll go over quickly after this, but just right off the bat, you know, you got your PPE, you got your glasses. I like my eyes, and I plan on wearing those every time, even if they are scratched and they don't make you look super fashionable. Second, I got a couple lights in here. These are great lights. This one is extremely bright. I've been very happy with it. The one downfall is it takes C123 batteries, which they're not that uncommon anymore, and they're truthfully not that expensive, but nothing beats the AA, right? I mean, there's so many different things that have it, and they're just much more readily available. So it's something that, the reason I have both. Aside from that, I have these great tools. I don't know the name of them, but I got them for Christmas from a friend of mine a couple years ago. They've been great when you're trying to keep that screw on the end of something, if you're going into a panel, putting on a breaker, something like that. Of course, the panel will be off, but I have the flat and Phillips version of that, and very helpful. Moving on, there's a couple different things in here. So these are really intended for needle nose, and then a pair of snips to some degree. I'm not a big fan of using these as the strippers. They haven't really worked too well for me in the past, but something that in a pinch you could use. Of course, you have your basic strippers here. I do have a nicer set in my other bag that I'll show you, but this is something that just disposable, it's inexpensive, and gets the job done. Razors, I have a couple different razors in here. I'm a bigger fan of razors than knives for a few reasons. One is they are a lot less expensive. If they become dull, you simply change out the blade and you're good to go. A meter, of course, everybody needs a meter. You need to make sure that whatever you're working on, if it has voltage, is confirmed or off, safe, so you can safely work on it. But this meter, I have a nicer one in the bag, but again, this is just kind of the utilitarian one. It can quickly tell me ohms and then any level of voltage that I have on there. So I've been, it's been easy to deploy, and this battery has lasted, I would say, 4 years. So it's probably time to change it before it dies in the field. Next, a lighter. You know, it's always good to have something in there that, whether you're doing a gas fireplace, lighting a pilot on something, a heater, something to that degree, but you can get the shorter ones, but I found that the little flamethrower style seems to suit our needs better. This is the pair of broken snips in here. I do have a newer pair, but just haven't found the way to part with these yet. You know, they still work, but they still work. I should probably get rid of them though. A couple insulated drivers here. These great small pair of Channellocks have been just invaluable. I mean, they seem to work on everything, and especially when you're dealing with smaller items that you just need that firm grip on. These have been great. Pair of locking grips as well. For those of you who don't have this, go get one. A Hinge Doctor. These things are great. Now, I keep the instructions in there because you can really jack up a door if you don't know what you're doing, but you essentially slip this over a hinge. You can do it on a set of different ones, and from there what it'll do is adjust the door so that it either stops dragging or stops hitting the top. But this has really been a great tool. I met the owner of this years ago, and this guy is just, you never met anybody more passionate about doors and hinges. Of course, if you're in refrigeration, you know this little valve tool. This is something that I had to work on a handful of times. You know, my gauge set's in another bag, but something that's been helpful. Of course, you have your metric, and of course your standard sets here. Voltage tester, don't know, this is more of a novelty tool. You know, it has a couple torques on it, but the one thing I will say I'm also missing from this bag is my 10-in-1, which, you know, those things, they're popular, so you loan them out, they don't come back. Of course, you know, you got a couple different heads, swivel, some drivers. Those are kind of all in the bag. Little tape measure, you know, really helpful to have something small. I mean, you're not, unless you're doing a carpentry project, there's really no need to have something big. This is another HVAC tool, but not something that you use often, just to check for flow, so you can all see. Aside from that, you do have your standard tapes here. You got your black electrical tape, you have your pipe tape. I'm a big fan of this Blue Monster. This stuff for me has just been, it just performs better, and I just like the preference. Some gas tape, and then of course some self-sealing silicone tape for those of you who don't have that. This is something that can really be very helpful in short-term repairs depending on what you're doing. So you got your mirror. Aside from that, a couple pens, but some gloves, nothing else very noteworthy. So yeah, that's it. Now moving on to the bigger bag. I might have to adjust this a little. But if you have not seen these, I am a big fan of the backpack style for being able to really house a lot more stuff, and you can actually stay quite organized. So I'm not going to go through all the tools because there's a lot in here, but to just open this up for you, you'll see that in here I got a smaller pockets for some smaller drivers. You can keep some flat pry bars, a little level, another electrical tester, some bigger channel locks. It has some other compartments, house other items, so some more pipe tape, some other tools, and then it just keeps going. So you can keep storing other items in here. But I've been a big fan of this bag. It's been very helpful. So when my little tool bag doesn't get me where I need to go on everything, that's when I bust this guy out. And if it goes even further, I actually have a cart that I've made as well that I can bring, and it's something that has proven to be really helpful. So I hope that was helpful, and don't forget that even if you work at a computer, most of the time you still need to have some cool tools and get out there, repair a couple things, and make sure that your team knows that even though you're the leader, the chief, that you still have it and you're still excited and passionate about your job. So I hope you have a great day and look forward to the next video.